Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Christina and I make videos pertaining to fitness, finance, and lifestyle. I'm so excited for this video, you guys, because I got so many incredible women who reached out to me, who I reached out to. They gave me their input on this topic and I'm just really excited to share it. So, fall time is coming up, and as the Gen Z kids call it, you guys, it is almost cuffing season. I don't know what that word means, but I think it has something pertaining to relationships. So I decided to make this video, reach out to a few people who are very close to me, who I love very much and I trust. Most of these women that I spoke to are actually already married, so they have been through it. So today we are going to talk about red flags in a relationship and when to say ciao. So for those who do not know me personally, I have the most incredible husband, Ivan. We've been married for a little over 2 years, and I have been through my fair share of red flag stories. I've heard my friends talk about them, things that we have gone through over the past few years, and I want to share them with those of you women who are either single, or maybe you're dating, or maybe you're getting ready to get married and stuff like that. I just want to tell you, until you have the ring on your finger, it is never too late to back out of a relationship. A marriage will dictate about 90% of where your life is going to go. The person that you decide to marry is seriously the most important decision that you're going to make in your entire life, other than like giving your life to Jesus. So I just want to encourage you, it is never too late. Like if you catch on and hear these red flags and you're like, oh my goodness, I am thinking about like my fiance or my boyfriend or something. It doesn't matter how long you guys have been in a relationship for. It doesn't matter if you're already engaged. If you see a lot of red flags, pull out of that relationship. Believe me, it is so much better to upset a few people before your wedding rather than go through with it and live miserably for the rest of your life. A lot of people, what they think is that if when they're dating, if the relationship issues aren't that bad, they're like, oh, it's just something so small. It's just he does this one thing that's kind of a red flag, but it's fine. You guys, marriage doesn't fix these issues that a person has. Like these underlying issues or underlying red flags that a person have are actually gonna be magnified in the marriage. The things and the habits that kind of trigger you in your dating relationship are going to be like bright, shining lights in your marriage. They're not going to go away unless, of course, they make a conscious effort to kind of get rid of those things. They're going to lead into your marriage and dictate the rest of your life. So be very careful. That's kind of just a forewarning. Now let's get into these tips. I did try to narrow them down to only 10 tips, but there were such good ones and I just did not want to skip out on them. I wanted to add these in for you guys. Let's get started. I did want to say that while I'm reading these, I'm going to be speaking from a perspective of a woman, just because I feel like it's going to be easier for me to word stuff. So the very first one is that he doesn't have consistent friend groups. Now, friendships are pretty important because whenever you're in a friendship, it causes you to be really vulnerable with people. And these friends, they know a lot of your dreams, they know where you've been, they know your family, they know your background. And a lot of times you come to them with like your insecurities or your hopes or dreams. They know you better than anybody else. If you have good friends, they will call you out on something whenever you're wrong. Of course, I know some of us are introverted, we prefer to keep to ourselves, that's fine. But if there isn't like a single person who can stand up and be like, I've known this guy for 10 years, we hang out all the time, or 5 years or however long, that could be a really big red flag. The second one is that he is hot-tempered. Now, I will say this one is a pretty hard one to catch just because when you're on a date with somebody or you're going out with them, they always try to be on their very best behavior. So you guys, if this person is causing you to question yourself when they're on their best behavior, it's probably gonna get worse after you get married. I don't want to sound like a pessimist, but this is typically what happens. You may not catch this one at first, but you have to kind of pay attention and look for it because somebody who's hot-tempered, he's gonna try to hide it from you. Hot-tempered isn't something that he goes around and advertises. Pay attention to what happens when things don't go his way. For example, his waiter gets the order wrong and brings in the wrong food. How does he react? Does he get mad right away and demand to speak to the manager or whatever? Oh my goodness, I hope not. Like that is just, that's really bad. When you first start hanging out with him, it's a good idea to hang out with friend groups because when there's a lot of friends, everybody tends to be a lot more comfortable. He will be a lot more comfortable and he's gonna let his guard down. You can see more of what he's really like whenever he has a group of his friends around. And that's another good one. Like if he loses his temper whenever something doesn't go his way, it's most likely to show when you're in a group of friends rather than when it's just the two of you, because he knows he has to keep it together. If you notice that this person flares up like in 0.2 seconds, that is a really big red flag and you need to reevaluate your relationship and ask yourself, is this the kind of person that I want to spend the rest of my life with? Is this the kind of person that I want to be my children's father. I can't believe this one is in here, but unfortunately it has happened to somebody very close that I love, when he tells you to ignore your parents' advice and pretty much disrespect your dad. In my family, we're very close to my parents, and I personally take my parents' words very seriously. If he is telling you to ignore their advice, ignore their opinions, especially if they're opinions about him, that's a big red flag. He wants you to get all of your ideas about him from him, and that is a big red flag, especially if he disrespects your dad. Like, he doesn't take what your dad says seriously. For example, let's say your dad says like, hey, curfew is 10 o'clock, bring her home at 10 o'clock, and he ignores that. You guys, that is bad, bad, bad. The problem with these red flags is they will leak into other areas of your life. They're not just gonna stay, oh, he just disrespects my dad and that's it. That's the only person he disrespects. That is a sign that he disrespects authority and he has his entire system messed up. If he doesn't respect your dad, he probably doesn't respect his own dad. He will not respect your pastor in your church. He will not respect the rules and authorities that are placed there. Who knows if he like follows the government and pays taxes, you know? The next one is that he treats his mom and his sisters badly. Now again, this one might be pretty difficult to catch, but if you pay close attention, you will be able to, because things will not always be going his way. And if he treats his mom and his sisters badly, guess what? He is going to treat you badly in the future. To piggyback off of this point is that he talks negatively about his family. I know it's another thing if like his family is like very toxic and kind of difficult to get along with, that's another story. But if he's always bringing it up and you meet his family and they're awesome, but he's always complaining about them, that's a red flag. Again, I can't believe this one is even on here, but I put it on here because I got more than one response on this one. He checks out other girls or talks about them a lot in front of you. Now ladies, that is not a gentleman. I don't even think I need to discuss this point further. He makes you feel bad about yourself instead of bringing out the best in you. So he'll always highlight your weaknesses instead of highlighting your strengths. Now you've heard, especially in a lot of like marriage vows, the women are always like, you bring out the very best in me. And I never really knew what that meant. But like when I got married, there was so much of myself that I didn't even understand. I didn't know that I had this like whole entire like creative side of me that I loved. Like, I'm an accountant, so that seems very like cut and dry. Oh, it's very black and white for you. For me, I never really knew that. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, I love doing hair. Like, that is just my favorite thing. I love, you know, creating content. I love having a blog, all of this. I never knew this about myself until I got married, and my husband is the one who started complimenting these things and noticed these things and inspired me to bring them out and to actually put them into action. So this is definitely something that is very, very valuable in a spouse, is if they highlight the brightest parts of you instead of always making you feel bad about yourself. Imagine like anything you do, they'll always just be pointing out your weaknesses. They'll find ways to express that you're not enough. And that is just, it's just so sad. Like, girl, you are enough, okay? You deserve somebody who is just bomb, who is just amazing, who's gonna bring you coffee to bed every single day, who is going to love you, who's gonna love Jesus, who's gonna go to church with you, all of that. Like, you do not need a man who makes you feel stupid or feel bad about yourself, okay? Leave him, all right? Trust me, there is somebody out there for you that is just incredible, and he will bring out the best parts of you, and he's gonna make you feel amazing. Now, I will piggyback off of this point again. When you get married, you're gonna notice a lot of ugly stuff about yourself, and that is the whole point of marriage. It's a sanctification process, right? That's not your husband bringing out the bad stuff in you. That's marriage bringing out the bad stuff out from you so that you can be sanctified from that. So that's a different story. Right now, we're just talking about dating. Right now, we're just talking about how he makes you feel on a consistent basis. This is more for my couples who talk about the future, or for if maybe you're already engaged and stuff. If he expects you to be bringing in like a solid income, you know, work 9 to 5, 8 to 5, whatever, but also do all of the housework, all of the laundry, cleaning, everything that needs to be done, and he does not have a plan to split those with you, expects you to do everything, that is a red flag, okay? Back in like 40 years ago, when the women, they stayed home, where there was such a huge inflation, when you could buy a house off of one income, back then, the women would tend to stay home and, you know, be the housewives. They would raise the kids, but the times have changed dramatically and the perspective has kind of shifted. And I know I'm probably gonna get some hate on this and people say like, this is such like a feminist thing to say, but no, we have gotten to this point in our lives where usually the husband and the wife need to work. But the thing is, if they're both working, if they're both splitting what was supposed to be like the husband's responsibility, then they also have to split what was the wife's responsibility as well. So if both of you are working, both of you should have plans to split the housework. Now I understand, like in our example, I know for a fact there's nothing that Ivan hates more than washing dishes. Like, he just does not like washing dishes. My pet peeve is unloading the dishwasher. I don't know what it is, I just don't like to do it. So what he does when he helps me around the house, he'll unload the dishwasher and I'll do the dishes. Or sometimes there will be days when I just don't feel like doing anything. I prefer to be the one to cook in our relationship. These are just things that I like to do. I feel like I'm good at them and I want to continue doing them. But there are times whenever I can freely text him or reach out to him during the day and say, hey, can you take care of dinner? And he won't have a problem with it. But if there is a guy who blatantly refuses to help you with that housework stuff, that's a big red flag, because he puts himself in the position of a king where he expects you to do just as much work as he does, you know, from 9 to 5 or whatever hours he works, and then comes home while he plops on the couch, you're doing all the rest of the housework. That is not fair, my friend. You deserve much better than that. The next one is that he's stingy and he's not generous. Can I have some money? A very good point in the Christian community is if he tithes. The reason why this is a red flag is you think, oh, like, well, that's such a small part, like, it's not really important. But finances will actually determine a lot of what this person is like in other areas of his life. Finances are very closely tied to like our spiritual lives and just the way that we are as beings. If he's very stingy, won't give finances, he's probably going to be stingy with his time, with his money, with his sleep, in just every areas, because it never really sticks to just finances. Like, I've never met a guy who's really stingy with finances but who's very giving in another area of his life. Can I have some money?
How much do you want?
Like 100.
Okay, Sean, that's what a good husband does.
The next point is one that kind of needs to be explained. So a red flag is if he gets upset with you when you don't want to do something that he's super interested in. So let's say there is this guy who's like super pumped, loves to hike, right? And you're just like, look, I am a glamping princess. Like, I just do not like hikes. That is not my thing. I'd rather go walk in Target. If that's something that upsets him very much, that could be a red flag. Every person has different hobbies, things that they love to do. Like the spouse or the person you're dating, you can't expect them to love all the same things you love. Now, it would be very selfless and nice of you, even if you don't like to do some of these things that he's interested in, go and do them with him anyways. You know, it'll make him feel so good and so happy that he gets to share this incredible experience with you. But if he gets angry and upset with you because you don't want to do those things, red flag. Number 11, I think. He's emotionally immature. I don't know how much to expound on this topic because I feel like you're gonna know what I'm talking about, but somebody who's not mature emotionally. Emotions just dictate every area of his life. He doesn't look at facts, at reason, and at the opinions of other people who have gone before him in the same way. Very, very, very big red flag. Okay, I'm gonna group these next ones all into one group because this can all be underlined under one word. So the first thing is if he isolates you from friends and family, tries to control how you dress, tries to talk down on you and make you feel stupid, and pressure you to do something that you're not comfortable with. Narcissist. This is the definition of a narcissist. Now, I never really knew what a narcissist was. I had to look it up. My husband kind of told me, explained to me what it is, but it is a scary. This person isolates you from your friends and your family. They try to keep their opinions away from you. He makes you completely rely on him. He tries to control how you dress. That is a very, very big red flag, especially when I'm talking to girls who are like dating, or if you're planning on getting married. If you're not even married yet and he's already controlling how you dress, there's a lot of other areas of your life he's gonna be controlling, and it is not gonna be pretty. Talking down on you and making you feel stupid. Okay, first of all, that is just so sad. If this is like the only red flag you catch, maybe you should reevaluate, look back on this, because like we spoke about earlier, the spouse that you deserve, make sure you are dating or giving your time or being in a relationship with somebody who highlights your strengths, not your weaknesses. And if he's making you feel stupid, no, girl, leave him. We don't need that in our lives. Like, why are we doing this, you know? So at the end of all of these red flags, I did want to just give you a little tip. Something that's a good idea to do is when you're dating somebody, you're kind of wondering like, is this the person I want to spend the rest of my life with? Interview like his friends, his family, his pastor. Ask other people's opinions about him. You might be one of those people who got really lucky and you dated him, you know, you guys could be high school sweethearts. You've seen him in every situation. You've seen him with his parents. You've known him for years. Bonus if you went on a mission trip with him, because guys, nothing will bring out the character of a person like going on a mission trip with them. I'm telling you, put them in a bunk bed that has a mosquito net around them. You guys, bed bug experiences, sweaty buses, like this, a mission trip. is like meant to break a person. And it's such an awesome thing when you're there with that person and you're watching them being so broken and see how they react. Because after this mission trip, you could be like, dude, 100%, like, I love you. I've seen you in every situation. Like, let's get married. Let's do it. Okay. So we went through about 14 or 15 red flags. And you guys, like, I'm just going to wrap this up here and just say, whoever is watching this, you are worthy. You do not deserve to feel horrible about yourself, ugly, unwanted, unsmart. No way, no way. You deserve to be with somebody who loves you, who's going to lead your family, your future family strongly, who's going to make you feel like a princess. And of course, every relationship is difficult and every relationship requires sacrifice, especially when you get married. There could be so many situations that you go through. You don't know what's going to happen in your future. You don't know the tragedies that could hit. You don't know any of these things. So make sure you pick an incredible spouse. Make sure you find somebody who is worthy of your love, who is worthy of your time. And on the flip side of this, be that person for somebody else. If you're watching this video and you notice these red flags in yourself, girl or guy, work on yourself. Do what you gotta do for yourself first. Because if you notice any of these red flags within yourself, you may not be ready for a relationship because unfortunately, a lot of these things are really gonna hurt somebody else. And that is it for today's video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you took these things to heart. If you have any other questions, you can go ahead and comment them below. I will be happy to answer them or ask somebody really smart if I don't know the answer to your question and get back to you guys. I love you and I'll see you next time. Bye.